Good morning. Welcome to the Dawnofmanshow. I'm your Uncle Dom. Dawn of Man, D-O-M, Dom. You can call me Corey if you'd rather, but I prefer Dom. Is your juice worth the squeeze? That's the topic for this morning. It's the beginning of Black History Month today, so we're going to start with a quote from a man who's a shining example that masculinity is good and that living your purpose is the thing to do. This quote comes from the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. In it he said, "The ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at times of challenge and controversy." How does that quote apply to your life? I rarely drink my calories, but when I'm feeling under the weather, what could be more mouth-watering and nourishing to me than a tall glass of fresh squeezed orange juice? Call it a placebo, but I always feel less sick just a few minutes after I drink that orange juice. I call it OJ. You might call it orange juice. Both are okay. Maybe it's the nutrients that it's providing to my body, or just the quick sugar rush that I feel. But regardless, I feel like that's one glass of juice that's really worth the squeeze. Are you drinking any juices in your life that aren't worth the squeeze? I would know all about that. Between past relationships that were a drain on my time and my resources, or jobs, which a lot of people call just over broke, they just kept me from committing to my pursuit of excellence. And I've definitely seen juice that's not worth the squeeze. So I hope today we'll be able to kind of cut through the bullshit and help you determine, is my juice worth the squeeze? Applied to your life. You aren't squeezing my juice. You can't have that. Okay, let's evaluate how you can determine if something is worth the squeeze. So, first you need to ask, does this person, venture, or job, or opportunity offer you short-term or long-term benefit? Is this person I'm dating going to pan out for me, or are they throwing up red flags? What amount of upfront effort is required, and how long is it going to take for you to be paid back? What are you missing out on because you're drinking the juice that you're currently squeezing? Now that you've evaluated your situation, it's time for you to take action. If you're with a resource vampire in the form of a wife or a crazy girlfriend, remember, there's millions of other women out there. Millions. They're all replaceable to you. The sooner you know that you have one-itis, the sooner you'll be able to get over your current situation. Just remember, when a woman tells you, "I love you," it means she loves you right now. Doesn't mean she's going to love you tomorrow. The sooner you can come to a realization that there is no one woman for you in this world, then the sooner you'll be saved from going through a lot of bullshit for the rest of your life. This is an epiphany that saved me from entering an expensive and ultimately what would have been doomed to failure of a marriage. I escaped before I made a bad decision. Thank God I learned what one-itis was. That would have been really stupid of me to marry someone who was a total energy vampire. Do you have an energy vampire in your life? What form does it take? What resources is that vampire sucking from you? Is it your time? Is it your emotions? Maybe you would normally be happy and optimistic and outgoing, but this vampire in your life has caused you to always be negative, to have to defend yourself constantly, to always be fighting. Guys, if you're going through something and those three symptoms that I just mentioned to you are happening in your relationship, get the out of it, because it's never going to get better. I don't care how much therapy or counseling you go to, you're never going to fix that situation. It's time to move on. It's time to find somebody else. That's not the person for you. That's an energy vampire. You need to get out and focus on you, gentlemen. You are the prize down the road. Just wait. We're going to get to that topic. Just a second. We're getting there. So this juice is worth the squeeze concept can be kind of loosely compared with something that's called the Pareto Principle. If you'd like to read up on it, there's a whole big article that will be linked below. It's probably a 10-minute read. It's actually very interesting. Really, it's hard to kind of put into words sometimes, these topics in such a broad sense, because there's so many different men and everyone has sort of a different situation in life. So I try to do the best I can to paint with a broad brush, but maybe this Pareto Principle article can go into a little better detail for you to kind of help you understand and maybe paint this into your life, your situation. So give that a read, but I'll kind of summarize it now for you. So basically the Pareto Principle states that 20% of the effort should produce 80% of the results in any given situation. Typically it's applied to like a workplace, but we're applying this to a relationship or to a career, a job, what have you, a new venture. So don't get stuck on 20 plus 80 equals 100 because this math isn't always going to add up. So let me give you a little example of this. So the principle would go on to state in further detail, and if you read about it, you'll read this section. The principle states 20% of the workers, they might only produce 10% of the results. So are your eyes kind of opening up to this? Is the juice worth the squeeze? Is 20% of the effort only producing 10% of the results, or is 20% of the effort producing 80% of your results? Which juice is better for you? So in the case of 20% of the effort producing 10% of the results, that juice, it's not worth your squeeze. Run away from that juice. Find something else to drink. The key takeaway here, and I'm going to kind of boil it down to a nice quotable sentence here. So the takeaway is effort, reward, and output are not distributed evenly. Some contribute more than others. You follow? Good. Think about that. Think about it. You know that's what I say. Think about it. Time for a little bit of coffee. Like I said, I don't drink my calories. My coffee's always black, and I always brew it as a pour-over. Do you know what the perfect temperature to brew a pour-over is? Comment below if you watched my last video. I told you in that. Okay, so I realized I used a term a few minutes ago that you may or may not be familiar with called one-itis. So I'm going to define it for you. One-itis, and this comes from a website, so I will be quoting here. But I have sort of changed this definition to fit more along the lines of what the manosphere considers one-itis to be. So one-itis, an unhealthy romantic obsession or fixation for or on one person, coupled with the belief that you will never find someone as good as her. This is a mental disease that will often interfere with your ability to attract said person due to your cringy level of clinginess. This is 100% true. Totally confirmed. I have had one-itis, and I thought I had met the prettiest girl that I would ever get to sleep with, the most beautiful girl I would ever know, had a wonderful job, making over $100,000 a year. Like, I had a catch. What could be better than this? That's fucking one-itis, dude. I looked beyond so many red flags of bitchiness and self-centeredness, all because I was putting that pussy on a pedestal, and I thought, you know what? There's nothing better in this world than her. Guess what? I found something better. It's called working on myself and finding my purpose and doing shit in this world. Okay, so let's put this into a quote. One-itis. I'm suffering from one-itis because I have a massive crush on that one girl I just met on Tinder. I think she might be the one. If you've said this to yourself or to your friends, or you maybe just thought this, because guys don't like to talk about their feelings, and I completely get that. If you've thought this, you've had one-itis. Man, I'm really into it today. I'm sorry. I think I'm finally getting more comfortable behind this camera, so this content's going to blow your mind here in a couple weeks. we're finally getting down to the right temperature to drink. Decided that it's time to bring out my many expressions of Darth Vader mug. Are you guys Star Wars fans? Do you prefer the original trilogy or that weird one with Jar Jar Binks? Or do you like the new kind of J.J. Abrams Disney version of Star Wars? Is Kylo Ren better than Darth Vader? Or is Darth Vader the OG alpha male? Maybe he's not. Comment below. Let me know what you think. That's really curious. Okay, so now that you've heard the textbook definition of one-itis, I'm sure now you're able to think back to at least one time, probably many times in your life, that you've had it. So please do yourself a favor, learn how to let go. Just let go of one-itis because it's not worth it. It's going to blind you from making proper decisions and from evaluating correctly if the juice is worth the squeeze. It really gets in the way, guys. You've got to learn to identify any time that you have one-itis because it is going to hold you back from so many things in this world. A true alpha male knows that long after the ones, looks have faded, wrinkles have set in, and her tits have sagged, that his value as a provider and positive masculine figure will live on far beyond that time. While you're sitting here having one-itis, realize maybe she should be sitting here having one-itis for you because in the long term, you are the catch. You are the one that provides the long-term value and stability in a relationship. Know this, value yourself above all things. Can you think of a time that one-itis clouded your judgment, kept you from being able to determine if a woman's juice was worth the squeeze? If you can, and you're okay writing about it, please leave a comment below. I think it would be helpful for other people to see other examples than what I've given in here, and maybe they'll be able to compare it to themselves and really realize, yeah, I've got one-itis for this girl, or I had one-itis for this job, or you know what, I really thought I loved living in Tennessee, but it held me back because the opportunity was in Texas. Let's bring this discussion kind of to full circle and concisely define, is the juice worth the squeeze? Simply put, and this is my definition, is the end result worth the process of achieving it? If you take nothing else away from today, go ahead, write this down, put it on your whiteboard, put it in front of your computer monitor and look at it and ask yourself this. Is the end result worth the process I went through to achieve it? So today's homework, I need you to write down 3 situations in your life and determine if the juice is worth the squeeze. I'm going to give you some examples. This could be, is your significant other worth the squeeze? Are you in a long distance relationship? Hint, hint, I'm going to call this an invisible relationship. Invisible relationship because it doesn't exist. Dump her. No long distance relationships ever, 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 ever. Because guess what? While you're home being a good upstanding gentleman, she's out probably at the bar getting drunk, making out with the guy that hits on her. Trust me, this happens all the time. Long distance relationship, invisible relationship. Continuing on, 3 situations in your life. Write them down. Is the juice worth the squeeze? Some examples, significant other, long distance relationship, your current job, going to college, is that worth the squeeze? Is it worth the squeeze to live where you are now? Or would it be a juicier squeeze if you moved somewhere else? Would there be more opportunity? Is investing in a cryptocurrency worth the squeeze? Hint, hint. Some of these things might suck today, but long term, the payoff is going to be worth it. Remember what we said about 20% versus 80% output? That's what I'm talking about. Some things are definitely not worth the squeeze, and you need to discard them and allow yourself to focus on your purpose in this world instead. Gentlemen, don't be afraid to do something that makes you uncomfortable. Once you embrace the facts that we've talked about today, it's going to set your mind free. This is so liberating. Once you kind of just sit back and realize all these years, these decades that I spent in my life having this kind of one-itis, this one-track mind, not being able to positively evaluate your situation. Once you realize how to do it and start doing it, it's like they always say, practice makes perfect. The more you do it, the better you'll get at it. The easier it becomes to cut the crap out and focus on the cream that rises to the top. So start doing this today. That's why you have this homework. This channel is not going to be all about hot and heavy topics like this, like we talked about today. So I've got some cologne sitting over here. I know when I was a little bit younger and I didn't have a ton of money back in the day. And so it was hard for me to kind of take the plunge and to buy something like a cologne, which can cost $50, $70, $120 a bottle. So I would kind of heavily rely on recommendations that I would get from the internet. So now, fast forward 10 years, I have a large cologne collection. It's something that I find to be, extremely pleasing to the nose, and I get compliments all the time. So cologne is different for everybody. For the most part, what I'm going to show you today are great colognes, and I wanted to share this with you to add some extra value, just so you can see that this channel is not going to be all women suck, blah, 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 men are best. We're actually going to do other things to help you improve and to learn and to know more, because the more you learn, the better off you're going to be. So we're going to start with some colognes. Let's start over here. I actually just ordered a new bottle of this. This is called Dolce & Gabbana The One. They also make this called Dolce & Gabbana The One Sport, which is a little lighter fragrance. But if I smell this, it's fairly heavy on the nose, and it's what you would consider kind of spicy smelling. So this would be good for like a cocktail hour, evening out, or if you're going to the secret place to pick up high quality women, which is the ritzy hotel bar. This is what I would wear with a nice button-down shirt and tie. Maybe a vest. Definitely make sure your shoes are shined and cleaned. This next one, this is called Diesel, Only the Brave. I also call it the Fist because it's shaped like a fist. This you can buy at Kohl's for 40 bucks, okay? Whereas this one is about 100 bucks a bottle. This one's cheap and cheerful. I can't tell you how many compliments I've gotten on this Diesel Only the Brave. I typically wear this to the gym, actually. And sometimes I'll wear it in the office when it's a little bit more of a casual day, like when I'm dressed like this. This is a lot more of a sweet smell. I don't know why, but when I smell this, I think of chewing bubblegum. But very good smell, lots of compliments. Younger women will really appreciate this. This last one is called F by Ferragamo. This one kind of just came to me, and I smelled it, and this is a little bit more in line with the Dolce & Gabbana. So it's a little bit more of a kind of a stronger, maybe a fall or a winter scent. Goes great with a night out downtown. Maybe you're going to the upscale bar. You're wearing a nice button down and jeans with this. So this is great for date night. Thanks for sticking with me here at the Dawn of Man channel. I know we're new, there's not a lot of content out yet, but if you've liked what you've seen so far, make sure you go ahead and comment below. Tell me what your favorite part was. If you have some questions or some things to add to the discussion, please leave it down there. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, smash the bell notification, because I do put out new videos every weekday. And we're 3 for 3 so far, so we're off to a great start. It is my commitment to excellence this year in 2019, and part of that is starting this channel. So you better believe tomorrow there's going to be another video up right when you expect it. So subscribe, check it out, watch them every day. 2019, it's going to be your year to maximize yourself, your potential. You're going to break free of what's holding you back, I promise. Because if I can do it, you can do it. So I'm here with you along the way. Until tomorrow, gentlemen. Thanks for watching.